Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well and find yourself in good spirits. I made a video earlier that I took down because I had a booger in my nose and I didn't like how the video looked, so I'm remaking it. If you saw the other one, this is basically the same. So I want to talk a little bit about the midterms and Brittany Griner and how I think they're perceived by Raza and where I differ. So I hear a lot of Raza say that, they dislike liberals, they dislike Democrats, and even go so far as to defend Trump. It's their belief that Democrats are hypocritical from what I hear from them, and that with Trump, you get what you see. And that's true. Dr. King even said that in his letter from the Birmingham jail over 60 years ago. I spend most of my time calling out Democrats for the systemic racism that I see them inflict on my community for personal political power and doing it in the name of equity. The difference is, despite the hypocrisy and the systemic racism I see from Democrats, I didn't see DACA students living in fear under Democrats. I did see them living in fear under the former president. That said, I also believe that the presidents who were most favorable to immigrants were actually Republicans. The draconian laws that exist now for immigrants were signed by Bill Clinton. And so I understand why people are frustrated with Democrats. And it's the hypocrisy. At the same time, I appreciate their respect for someone telling you like how it is. And I don't identify as either. I shun labels, if you know. But one time, I was at this event in Oakland, and all the newscasters you see on, the top newscasters on cable channels, MSNBC, channels like that, right? They were there having panels, and a lot of iconic figures from movements were there. And we were asked, what change would you like to see in the world? And, I read the cards, and I saw a lot of folks talking about, their kids having healthy air and whatnot. And I want the same for my kids. But sometimes I look at my kids and I already know they're going to be okay. I see them, happy, well-rounded children that are going to be happy, well-rounded adults. And what I'm teaching them and pushing them towards is a life that affords them opportunities to thrive and grow. And I think that's happening. But sometimes I'll look at them and I'll see them really happy, carefree. And then my mind will go to this picture of a little girl in Africa. And she's on her way to a food station. And she falls, right? Like her head is down, like she can't go no more. And there's a vulture right there that's waiting for her to die so it could eat her. The guy who took the picture, he won a Pulitzer for it. And he killed himself. And so sometimes I look at my kids and I see them happy. And it's not so much about them anymore. And it wasn't quite as dramatic, for lack of a better word. But during the last presidency, this picture came out. And there's a little Mexican girl sitting on a cement floor. And her hands were covering her face. She was looking down, crying. There's like a burrito and some foil and a juice there for her. And her parents had been snatched up and taken away. And she didn't know where they were or what was going to become of her. And she was probably like under 10, the same age as my kid. And so sometimes I see my kids happy. And I don't enjoy the moment. Because I think of those other kids that aren't. I've heard folks say that, well, Obama built the cages, and these are talking points. They don't look at it deeply enough to see what the differences really were. It wasn't the same thing. And again, this isn't to defend Democrats. I made the point that the draconian laws were signed by Clinton. And, W, who I didn't like for the whole Iraq war charade, really did try to look out for Raza, I think. For immigrants, his cuñadas from Guanajuato, I think. They got love for him. And even if his Jebson signed on with that other, orange head mofo, I think he tried, and then Reagan gave him amnesty for all the bad things about him. He did give amnesty, and so when I hear folks defend Trump and say they love the raza, I guess I would have to ask if this country started oppressing that raza that isn't from this country, who do you love more? The next thing I wanted to talk about was Brittany Griner. Again, most raza I hear discuss her right away blame her. She should have known better. That's hella dumb to go there and do that. And maybe that's a cultural thing. If I climbed a tree and fell out of it and broke my arm and went home crying, I would get told, who the hell told you were a monkey to climb trees? That's what you get for being stupid. Oh, I got picked up by the cops and they beat me up because I was drunk. Nope, síguele de pendejo. Keep on being a dumbass. That's like the instinctual response is, we blame the person, right? But I'm going to just put another possibility out there that I don't hear mentioned. It's equally possible that Brittany knew the consequences and didn't take a vape pen. And that Putin, having once been a ruthless spy for the KGB and now a ruthless authoritarian president at war, with conflict, with tensions as high as they've been in a long time between our country and his, that he isn't above framing her to create a political prisoner for leverage. That is equally possible. I'm not saying that happened. I'm not saying she didn't take a vape pen. I'm wondering and asking myself, why do Raza, who have way more in common with her than they do Putin, choose to blame her and not him? People who've been in prison, who've had jailers, who've been treated unjustly at times. Some motherfuckers are just criminals, but they've still been treated unjustly at times. They know that happens. They know cops frame people. Or have, not all cops. And you know, but it's happened. But the instinct is to say it's her fault. I don't know if it's the dog whistles of misogyny I hear, the dog whistles of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric I hear, you know, the dog whistles around racism I hear. Or if it's just cultural, and even if she was Mexican, we would be blaming her. I don't know. But the lack of empathy, it really blows my mind. It does. And especially when people profess a pride and a love for their people. Again, going back to the original point, these borders. Do you love the borders more? Or do you love the brown people on the other side of the border war? Seriously, that's food for thought there. Have a good one. Enjoy your day, and God bless.